Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
An hour of comedy. Groucho Marx starts off this hour with the comedy quiz show You Bet Your Life. This episode goes back to May 14th, 1952, and George Fenneman is going to tell us what the secret word is.
Ladies and gentlemen, the secret word tonight is age. A-G-E.
Don't get personal, Fenneman. Really?
You bet your life. More than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers of America present Groucho Marx in You Bet Your Life, the comedy quiz series produced and transcribed from Hollywood. And here he is, the one, the only...
What's he doing now? Oh, that's me. Well, here I am again with $6,000 for one of our couples tonight. We've gone this high only once before. I've been that high many times, but... well, it's a lot of money. Maybe somebody will win it tonight, huh? Let's hope so.
Groucho, just before we went on the air, we selected an aircraft worker and a man with an interesting job to be on the show, and here they come. Miss Betty Dormont, Mr. Jerry Hoffman. Meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome, folks, for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Say the secret word and divide $100. It's a common word. It's something you always have with you. Let's see now. Miss Betty Dormont and Mr. Jerry Hoffman, eh? Betty, may I ask your age?
Yes, I'm 24.
24, huh? How long have you been 24?
About 24 years.
That's a good answer, anyhow. It's baffling, but it's a good answer. Mr. Jerry Hoffman, where are you from, Mr. Hoffman?
Originally from the Bronx, New York, Groucho, but I've been out... I've been here for 26 years.
Oh, well, then you're practically a native son, huh?
Yes.
You still root for the Bronx Bombers?
No, I don't pay much attention to baseball.
You don't, huh?
No.
You mean, in other words, you root for Cincinnati? Now, I understand you have a very interesting job, Jerry. Just what is it?
Well, I am in public relations, Mr. Marx.
Oh. Well, just how public are your relations?
Well, it's commonly called a press agentry.
Oh, you're a press agent, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, press agent can be pretty common, all right. What kind of agents do you address?
Well, I'm with Columbia Pictures.
They still in business?
Yes, as a matter of fact, very much so. As a picture called The Marrying Kind were proved.
What is it called?
The Marrying Kind, with Judy Holliday and a new star, Aldo Ray.
Oh, that sounds like it ought to be a pretty good picture.
It's a wonderful picture.
Didn't Blake Granite have something to do with it?
He produced it.
Oh, well, he's a nice fellow.
Yes,
my
very clever man. I will, thank you.
And you can have him, too, as long Now, Betty, do you mind if I talk to you for a while?
That's all right. I'd be happy to talk to you.
You would, huh? I didn't mean right here. I was thinking of later on. Perhaps after the show. Well, enough of that kind of thinking. Where do you work, Betty?
I work at Douglas Aircraft in the inspection department.
Well, what do you do what do you do there?
Well, briefly, we inspect inspectors.
Well, what does the inspector inspect while you're inspecting the inspector? I think my needle's stuck. Huh?
Well, he inspects the airplanes.
And how much wood does a woodchuck chuck of a woodchuck?
He inspects the airplanes, and we sort of follow him and pick up the squawks that he writes about the airplane.
Are you allowed to take any of these home with you? What do you do with these reports that you make?
Well, we compile them in statistics, and then they graph them in the front office. In front.
You say there's graph in the front office? Seems to me that's where they need the inspector. Jerry, I'll call you Jerry.
Please do.
Kind of formal. Jerry, I'm curious. You give new actors the big build-up. Now, pretend Betty here has just signed a contract and she's brand new. Nobody ever heard of her. Now, what would you do with her?
Well, that's a large
question,
order, but not too large, considering that the girl has a lot of natural charm and a lot of natural attractiveness. They might want to change her hair. This is a matter for the front office to decide.
Is that where they change it, in the front office?
Well, they make the decisions on the glamour treatment.
I see.
But we may also suggest some changes. The basic job for the publicity department would be to make her name a household word.
You mean like Drano? Well, you're a very nice couple, and I think you're going to be very happy together. And I'd like to go on talking to you two all night, but we have so much money at stake tonight that we've got to get on with this. Now, in just 1 minute, you're going to play You Bet Your Life for a chance at the $6,000 question. Right now, I'd like you to devote your attention to an important announcement.
Visit our webpage at classicradio.stream. That's the important announcement. Some more important announcements. Groucho Marx, You Bet Your Life, May 14th, 1952. Here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Just so you know, that $6,000 prize back in 1952 is the equivalent of over $68,000 today. Groucho Marx, You Bet Your Life, May 14th, 1952. Here on Classic Radio Theater with me, Wyatt Cox.
All right, now let's see how you work together as a team. Fire Dome Fenneman?
Yes.
This is Fire Dome Fenneman. Tell them the rules.
You bet as much of your $20 as you want on each of 4 questions, and the couple that earns the most money gets a chance at the $6,000 DeSoto Plymouth question later in the show.
Clear? Here we go. Let's see how high I can build you $20. From our list of 20 categories, you selected scrambled proverbs. Here's your first question. How much will you bet?
1990 or 50%? Right. Huh? 1950? She would like 1950.
All right. What is this proverb? Where there is no speculation, there is no increase in value.
No risk. No.
There's no increase in value.
Oh dear.
There is no speculation. There's no increase in.
Where there is no speculation, there is no increase in value.
No risk. Isn't that awful?
Damage.
Oh dear.
Oh, it's terrible.
I know you know it too. You were hanging right around it, Jerry. It's a nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Nothing gained.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, that's too bad.
You now have 50 cents.
Now, don't get discouraged. The big money is the $6,000. 1 week we had a couple here that won the chance at the big money, and they won $1. So I don't want you to get discouraged. Remember, you're going for $6,000. Now, how much are you going to bet this time?
The 50 cents.
The whole thing.
Yes.
All right, what is this proverb? It is inadvisable to peer into the oral cavity of a gratuitous equine.
Never look a gift horse in the mouth.
That's right, that's right. That's a much tougher one.
Well, you're climbing again. You have $1 now.
All right, now how much are you going to bet?
$2. $1.
$1.
She's going to borrow $1 from Mr. Hopkins. What is this proverb? During the absence of the domesticated feline, the rodents cavort.
When the cat's away, the mice are away.
Absolutely right.
You now have $2.
Here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much are you going to go for?
$2.
The whole thing. All right, what is this proverb? A revolving boulder will not accumulate lichen.
Rolling stone.
Gathers no moss.
Well, they wound up with $4, Groucho.
Nobody leaves here with $4. I'm going to give you one question for $21, which will give you a total of $25. Now, get this right, and no coaching, please. It's a tough question. You ready? How many layers in a 3-layer cake?
3.
3.
Right, 3 layers is right. Put it there, buddy. I'm sorry you didn't get it. Thank you. Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers.
We invited some insurance men to the program tonight, Groucho, and just before we went on the air, our studio audience selected Mr. Ross Harrison. His partner is a housewife, Mrs. Lucy Rankin. Folks, meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome to You Bet Your Life. Say the secret word and divide $100. It's a common word, something you always have with you. Mr. Ross Harrison, you're the insurance man, eh? I could tell you were an insurance man because you've got one foot in the microphone already. Now, Mrs. Lucy Rankin, you're the housewife. Where were you born, Lucy?
Canary Islands.
Is that so? Could you fly a few times around the room? Where are the Canary Islands, Lucy?
Off Morocco.
You're off your rocker, did you say? Lucy, I'm not interested in your personal peculiarities. At this point, I just want to know where you were from.
Canary Islands.
Canary Islands.
Mhm.
Did you meet Admiral
Same
Byrd
story.
down there? How did you happen to be born in the Canary Islands when there were so many other places to be born in? Were you throwing a wingding at the time?
No, my father was a mining engineer on the Gold Coast of Africa. And Canary Islands are rather close.
Oh, are they? I thought the Canary Islands was near where Columbus came when he...
He did.
Well, that wasn't near Africa, was it? Is that so? I better go back to school again. I get everything mixed up. Now, Lucy, we've never had anybody on the show before who was born on the Canary Islands. Were you born in the regular manner, or did you hatch?
Well, regular manner, I guess. My mother was American, and the doctor was Spanish, and she couldn't speak any Spanish, and he couldn't speak any English. But I was born anyhow.
Lucy, that could have been disastrous. That Spanish doctor could have taken out your mother's appendix. Then where would you be? Riddle me that. Well, you're real cute, Lucy. Look like a nice guy. Are you married?
Sure.
Skip it. Lucy, since you were born in the Canary Islands, what kind of a citizen are you? Are you American, or are you a canary?
Well, according
I
to...
thought you'd be more yellow. Are you American or canary?
Well, according to Spanish law, any child born in the Spanish territory is a Spaniard. But my mother refused to register me, have me registered as Spanish, and he refused to register me as English. So I'm miscellaneous.
You mean you were miscellaneous before you were married? Now you're miscellaneous. Well, let's talk to you, Mr. Harrison, about insurance. Looks like you could stand a little yourself after that cough you just threw there. You better take out fire and theft on that lung of yours. Now, before we go any further, I want to make it plain that I don't want to buy any insurance. Is that clear, Mr. Harrison?
I don't want to sell any insurance. Don't want to sell you any insurance.
I see. You regard me as a bad risk, eh?
I don't sell insurance. I just
why
make the
don't you want to sell me insurance?
I don't sell insurance. I just make adjustments.
Well, could you do something to my back here? This... Oh, my back. What kind of adjustments do you make?
We investigate all kinds of accidents, determine liability, attempt to make a settlement.
Well, like what, for example? You'd have to be more specific. What kind of crooked hanky-panky do you get involved in your job? Nefarious.
You would be surprised how many aches and pains we can cure when we dispense that long green folding money. People recover so rapidly.
It has charms to soothe the savage beast.
It's the most healing balm in the world.
I thought you looked a little shifty the minute you walked in here. Now, I don't want to be insulting, but how is it you're not in jail, Mr. Harrison?
I don't commit the embezzlements. I only investigate them.
Oh, I see. What makes you suspicious in the first place? Do you just automatically regard everybody as a crook and work from there?
A good claims adjuster's almost clairvoyant. He can read a man by his shifty eyes, his nervous motions, his mannerisms of speech.
Well, I'm glad I don't fit that description. But in case you think I do, just remember, it takes a crook to catch a crook. I want to thank every crook in the audience for that. Well, you're a mighty interesting couple. And I want to give you a chance to win some real money. But before I do, I want to remind you to take a ride in the new DeSoto Fire Dome 8. Now you're going to play You Bet Your Life. You beat our other couples, you'll get a chance at the $6,000. Can't tell you how much you have to win, but Mr. Fenneman's going to remind our listeners.
The publicity man and his partner won $4, and the secret word is age.
All right, here we go. Let's see how high I can bid you $20. There are common expressions that you have heard and used many times. I'll give you a keyword, and you give me the whole expression. For example, if I said proud, you would reply as a peacock. Proud as a peacock. Is that clear? I don't know why you picked such an involved category. All right, here's your first question. How much of the $20 will you try? Talk up.
What do you think?
$19.80.
Honey, you're going for broke.
1980? Is that all right with you, Mr. Harris?
I don't agree with it. I'm conservative. I'm an insurance adjuster.
All right.
Let's put 5 on.
Oh, no.
Then go for broke.
All right, time's a wasting, kids. Come on.
If you only put
Why don't you
5.
compromise and
Go for broke.
What, 20?
20.
Okay.
You're going for the whole 20? Okay, here we go. The word is wise. What's the rest of the expression? Wise?
As an owl.
Wise as an owl is right.
Off to a great start. You have $40.
Remember, you're going for $6,000 tonight. How much of the $40 you're going to try this time?
$39.75?
$39.75, is that it?
$39.75.
$39.75. The word is pretty. What is the rest of the expression? Pretty?
As a picture.
That's right. Pretty as a picture.
You now have $79.75.
Here's your bet question. How much of the $79.75 you going to risk?
79?
Go ahead.
79. The word is stubborn. What's the rest of the expression? Stubborn?
Is a mule.
As a mule.
Stubborn as a mule is right.
You now have $158.75.
It's your last chance to be the other couples. How much you going to go for?
All it?
Shoot the work.
All right. The word is flat. What's the rest of the expression? Flat?
As a pancake.
That's right. Flat as a pancake.
Thank you.
Thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers.
Wait a minute. I haven't got it added up yet.
Oh, why don't we give them the $6,000.
No, you'll wind up with a grand total of $317.50.
Well, thanks and good luck from the DeSoto Plymouth dealers.
We have a married couple for you, Groucho. They were...
Merry-go-round, did you say?
No, we have a married couple for you. They were selected from our studio audience just before we went on the air because they have some interesting experiences to tell you. Mr. and Mrs. Cornelia Smith meet Groucho Marx.
Welcome for the DeSoto Plymouth dealers. Say the secret word and divide $100. Say the secret word and you'll win $100. It's a common word, something you always have with you. Mr. and Mrs. Cornelia Smith, huh? Oh, he's flirting with you. You're married already, huh? Let's see, Mr. and Mrs. Cornelia Smith. And you're married. Mrs. Smith, what's your first name?
Grace.
Well, you're very attractive. May I ask how old you are?
30.
30. Well, you don't look it. And you're married to Mr. Smith, eh?
Yes.
Cornelius. Oh, come now. I can't call you Cornelius. What shall I call you?
Everybody calls me Corny.
That's a coincidence. That's what everybody calls me, too. Where are you from? Coney Island?
No, I was born in Fort Huachuca down on the Mexican border.
I beg your pardon?
Fort Huachuca.
Fort Huachuca. Have you tried antihistamine? Gracie, you have very pretty teeth. Atta girl. Now, where's your birthplace?
Baguio, Luzon.
You sound like you're in worse shape than he is. Baguio, Luzon? How do you explain your birthplace, Mrs. Smith?
My father was a major in the Army and stationed in the Philippines.
Oh, I see. Now, Coney, how do you explain where you were born?
Well, my father was in the Army, too. And he was stationed at Fort Huachuca. My mother was there, too.
That comes in pretty handy. How long did you live in that fort, Coney?
About a year, Groucho, and then we went down to South America, to Venezuela, and to Colombia. And then back up to Camp Meade, and then to Camp Bullis, and then to Fort Sam Houston, and then to Fort Bliss.
Your father certainly kept moving. He must have been a private, was he?
No, he was a colonel.
Well, sometimes those colonels have to keep moving even faster than the private. If they don't, they might get drafted. I mean for active duty. Coney, with all that Army background, I'm surprised you're not a general. How come you didn't join the Army?
Well, I went in the Marine Corps instead, Groucho.
You learned more about the Army than I thought you did, huh? Where did you bump into this charmer here?
I met her in Dhahran, Saudi Arabia.
That's up in Oregon, isn't it?
No, it's in the Middle East, Groucho.
Oh, yes, near Muncie, Indiana. Now, quit stalling, Coney. Where did you meet Grace?
I met her in Arabia. I was doing engineer work for the one of the oil companies out there, and she was the secretary of the president of the company.
Arabia is a strange country, Coney, isn't it, for a couple of Americans? What did you do for entertainment over there?
Pretty much the same thing you do over here.
Now, don't tell me you played canasta every night. You better explain that, Coney.
Well, I mean, they have...
What happened?
Guess we'll find out after the break. May 14th, 1952. Groucho Marx and You Bet Your Life here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now these messages from your favorite radio station. Just when you thought it couldn't get any better. Mike Lindell and MyPillow launching the MyPillow 2.0. Now, when Mike invented MyPillow, it had everything you could want in a pillow. Now, nearly 20 years later, he's discovered a new technology that makes MyPillow even better. Of course, the patented adjustable fill of the original MyPillow, but now with brand new fabric with a temperature-regulating thread, it's the softest, smoothest, and coolest pillow you'll ever own. Say goodbye to tossing and turning and flipping your pillow over in the middle of the night. And more great news on the MyPillow 2.0 buy one, get one free offer with my promo code Wyatt. MyPillow 2.0 is 100% made in the USA, 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio podcast square to receive the MyPillow 2.0 buy one, get one free offer. Use my promo code Wyatt or call 1-800-928-4715. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Groucho Marx and You Bet Your Life, May 14th, 1952. As Groucho was asking a contestant,
what happened? That's pretty data. They don't say that anymore. They say, how about that?
They have movies, tennis courts, swimming pool, lots of parties going all the time, and those Arabian Nights aren't so bad, you know.
How are the daytimes?
Not too good.
Where did you get married?
In Cairo, Egypt.
Oh, well, that sounds like
then we went to Europe on our honeymoon.
Mm-hmm. Where did you go in Europe?
Oh, we went to Greece.
Go behind the Iron Curtain?
No, to France and Italy and others. I don't remember them all.
You don't remember where you were? Well, I would say you had a real nice honeymoon. Do you remember where you went, Coney?
Sure.
American men are so romantic. That's what Zsa Zsa Gabor says. Well, Grace, now that you're back in America, what sort of work are you and Coney doing?
Why, he's doing sculpture in ceramics. He does American Indians, the Navajos, or Kachina dolls, little figurines about so high.
Mm-hmm. Is that anything like tangerines?
No.
What do people do with these things after they buy them besides dust them?
Oh, they put them on sideboards and high boards and on whatnot shelves.
Wait a minute, what's a whatnot shelf? Huh?
Why, it's...
Is that a shelf made out of a whatnot?
Anything, I guess you don't know a name for it, you just call it a whatnot.
Well, I have a name for that, don't I? Why do people want these whatnots?
Well, they make good conversation pieces. It gives people something to talk about.
You mean they're not content to talk about taxes and the war and the election, United Nations, or silly stuff like that, eh? They'd rather lose themselves in whatnots. I don't believe it. Who'd be silly enough to talk about a whatnot?
Well, we've been talking about them for a few minutes now.
Did you know that a camel can go 8 days without a joke? Well, this is a shining example. Well, you make a charming and a pretty witty couple, and I'd like to continue talking to you two, but it's time to play You Bet Your Life for a chance at the $6,000. Now, you run your $20 into more than our other couples. I can't tell you how much you have to win, but George is going to remind our listeners. You look like a pretty smart couple.
The lady from the Canary Islands and the insurance man lead with $317.50.
Here we go. Let's see how high I can bid you $20. You selected largest cities of the countries of the world. You ought to be pretty good at that after that honeymoon you had, Coney. Here's your first question. How much will you bet? Talk up. Don't keep it a secret.
1999.
1999. What is the largest city in Chile?
Santiago.
Santiago is right.
Well, you're on your way.
Not to be.
You have $39.99.
Remember, you're going for $6,000 tonight. How much of the $39.99 are you going to bet?
Okay. $39.98.
What is the largest city in Morocco?
Casablanca.
Casablanca is right.
You have $79.97.
Here's your third question. How much of that are you going to bet?
Shoot the words.
Shoot the works? All right. What is the largest city in Romania?
Bucharest.
Bucharest is right.
You have $159.94.
And here's your last chance to beat the other couples. How much are you going to go for?
All of it.
Let's go.
All of it.
All of it. All right. What is the largest city in Switzerland? Talk it over.
It's either Bern or Zurich. Zurich.
Zurich is right.
And you'll wind up with $319.88. And that means that you people, in just 1 minute, get the chance at the DeSoto Plymouth $6,000 question. And now, here's our winning couple, Groucho, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, all set for the DeSoto Plymouth.
I like the cut of your jib.
$6,000 question. Come on in, folks.
Well, maybe that honeymoon came in pretty handy. Otherwise, you wouldn't have known all those cities. Here we go for $6,000. I'll give you 15 seconds to decide on a single answer between you. Think carefully, and please no help from the audience. Here it is. If you remember, nectar was the drink of the gods on Olympus. For $6,000, tell me, what was the fabulous food of the gods that ensured them strength, power, beauty, and immortality? Talk it over. All right, what is the answer you two have decided upon?
Ambrosia.
Ambrosia is right. That's right, you win $6,000.
Come on back.
Plus how much, wait a minute. They won $6,000, and how much in the quiz, George?
Oh, I've completely forgotten that. $319.88.
That makes $6,398.63.
No, but it's close.
$63,1988, is that right?
No.
No, well, how
yes.
much?
I'm happy.
Gentlemen, you're fired. Huh? Get your fired homemade and get out of here. Well, what are you going to do with all that swag, kids? Another honeymoon?
I think maybe so. We've always wanted to go down to British East Africa, down to Nairobi and Kenya and Tanganyika. We haven't been down there yet.
Yeah, well, give them my regards. Well, congratulations from the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast. You bet your life.
Thank you.
Be sure to tune in again next Wednesday night at the same time for the Groucho Marx Show, when the big question will be worth $1,000. And don't miss Groucho's television show, also presented by the DeSoto Plymouth Dealers of America. And remember, all dealers who sell DeSoto also sell Plymouth. Two great cars, both products of the Chrysler Corporation.
And when you drive in, tell them Groucho sent you. Good night, folks, and remember, see DeSoto Fire Don't Make tomorrow.
Folks, here's a reminder from the National Safety Council. Make safe driving a habit. Check your car. Check accidents. You Bet Your Life, transcribed from Hollywood, is produced by John Goodell. Directed by Robert Dwan and Bernie Smith. Music by Jerry Fielding. This is George Fenneman signing off for the more than 3,000 DeSoto Plymouth dealers from coast to coast.
Yes, find your DeSoto dealer if you can. And Groucho Marx, You Bet Your Life, May 14th, 1952, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Let's jump into this episode of Lum and Abner from May 14th, 1935, and more about the hog chain letter. These episodes made possible by Ted at RadioMemories.com.
And now let's see what's happening down in Pine Ridge. Lum and Abner are certainly having their troubles over the chain letters they started in Pine Ridge
Just as the hogs and corn were pouring in from all sections of the country, they learned that it is unlawful to start these letters, as it comes under the head of using the mails to defraud. Well, now the old fellows are trying their best to give the hogs back to those who have sent them. So as we look in on our old friends today, Lum has gone to the county seat to see about shipping the hogs back. But we find Grandpappy Spears and Abner down at the Jot 'em Down store. Listen.
Well, he ought to have been back long ago. He left right early this morning.
Yeah, well, Lum's awful slow, Grandpap. It's got to where it takes him all day to do anything.
Yeah, but that's right smart of a job, though, shipping all them hogs back to where they come from.
Well, all he's got to do is just turn right around and ship them to whoever sent them. They're already in the crates. He don't even have to take them off the depot platform.
Well, I still think you fellers used awful poor judgment, Abner, paying out all that money, express charges, shipping them back.
Well, we ain't doing it 'cause we want to. We're just trying to keep ourselves out of trouble. That's what we're doing. Me and Lum went over to Jake Wheeler's yesterday evening and argued with him for 2 hours before we could get him to take that hog back that he brought us.
Well, and I've got 20-some-odd over at my place so far. I ain't worrying about getting in no trouble over it.
Why, no, I reckon not. But me and Lum was the ones that started that hog chain letter. That's where they've got us.
Well, there comes Dick Huddleston.
Yeah. He's the one that told us about it being against the law to start them chain letters.
Yeah, I know. He said all along us fellers better let them things alone.
No, he wouldn't have nothing to do with them. Lum tried to send him a chain letter, and he wouldn't have it.
Well, I ain't sorry a minute that I sent them a mine out. I'll swap one hog for 25 any day in a week.
Yeah, it's a good deal, except for the feller that starts the letters. They're the ones that catch it. Well, howdy, Dick.
Yeah, come in, Richard.
Well, howdy, Abner. How you, Grandpa?
Oh, first rate, I reckon.
Abner, Lige Jenkins was just down the store, and he had a bushel of corn for you and Lum. Said he tried to take it over to your place, and Cedric was sitting down there at the end of the lane with a shotgun. Wouldn't let him come on the place.
Well, good for Cedric. He's tending to his job, then.
Well, Lige said that he got one of those chain letters, and that your name was on the top of the list, and he was supposed to bring you a bushel of corn.
Yeah, I know it, but we ain't letting them bring no more of that corn over there. There's 200 or 300 bushel over there now that folks has brung, but just left before we knowed what they was doing.
Why, you and Lum started those chain letters, Abner, to get feed for your hogs. I just supposed you'd want all the corn you could get.
That's just what I told him, Dick, and he wouldn't listen to me. The very idea of him running a man off with a shotgun 'cause he's trying to give you a bushel of corn.
Well, now, we're trying to get out of this chain letter business. We're having enough trouble trying to get them hogs back to everybody that sent us one without having to go through the same thing on the corn.
Are you giving the hogs back, Abner?
We're trying to. If we can find out who all brung them to us, we are.
Yeah, Lum's in at the county seat now, going to all the expense of shipping every hog that come in there back to whoever sent them.
Well, for goodness sakes, what in the world are you doing that for, Abner?
Why, we're trying to keep ourselves out of the penitentiary. You said the other day over here that the government could loss for starting them chain letters. We just figured that the best way for us to keep out of trouble was to send them all back.
Well, that's not going to help any, sending the stuff back. You violated the law when you sent the letter out, not when you got the hogs and the corn.
See there, Abner, see there, what'd I tell you?
You mean that it ain't against the law to keep the hogs, huh?
Why, no, that's not going to help any, giving them back. You've gone this far with it, you might as well go through with it now.
Them's the very words I told him, Dick.
Well, I wish to goodness we'd have knowed that before Lum went into the county seat. Taking might nigh every cent we had for freighting them hogs back. They come from all over the United States. Fact is, there's one there from clean out there in California.
Yeah, I heard Lum telling about that.
Cost us $17 to ship him back, just about 3 times what he's worth.
Well, I'm sorry if I called you fellas to do this, by what I said the other day, but I was just warning you not to start any more of them. 'Cause sooner or later, why, somebody's going to get in trouble over it.
Well, I'll be dead blamed. Well, it's a good thing I never turned them all loose, Ann. Lum told me before we left this morning to just open the gate and turn them all loose. We never knowed where they all come from, and we thought maybe that they'd go home by themselves if we just turn them loose that way.
Oh, sassafras, sassy-frass. Hogs don't know the way home.
Well, it's a good thing I never done it anyway. For I just happened to think after Lum left, we Might have got ourselves in some more trouble over that.
Why, sure.
We got a stock law here in Pine Ridge, and I'd have had to arrest both of us if I'd turned them out.
Yeah, that's right.
Why, no, Abner. If I was you, I'd keep every hog and every bushel of corn that you get. Chances are that nothing will be done or said about those chain letters that you started in the first place. And I don't believe, though, if I was you, I'd start any more of them, because sooner or later, why, somebody's going to get into it.
Yeah, well, don't you worry about that. I just hope I never see another one of them. That's what I hope.
Well, I guess I better get on back. I just want to find out why Cedric was over there guarding your place with a shotgun.
Well, Dick, I'm glad you come over and explained it to me.
Yeah, I am too, Richard. I know they's making a mistake trying to give all them hogs back.
By the way, Grandpap, I nearly forgot here. I've got a letter here for you that come this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Thought I'd bring it over. I knew that you might not get down to the post office today.
Oh, well, thank you, Richard.
That's all right. Well, you fellas come down low with me.
Yeah, we will, Richard.
Yeah, so long.
Well, that looks like Cecil's handwriting.
Who?
My boy, Cecil.
Oh, yeah, Cecil.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Yeah.
It says so right there in the corner.
Yeah.
After 5 days, return to Cecil Spears, Star Route 80, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Well, I do know his ma'll be proud to hear from him. First hearing we've had from him since long before Christmas. Charity's been worried to death.
Why, natural. Is he still sharecropping that place of his father-in-law's?
Yeah, I reckon so. I expect I better open it up and see what all he's got to say.
Yeah.
Telephone Charity and tell her the news.
Yeah, go ahead and read it. I'd love to hear what he got to say. I always liked Cecil. Always said he'd make a success of himself. Fine boy.
Well, I do know. It's wrote with a typewriter. That's something new he's took up. Well, starts out, Dear Friend.
Well, that's a funny thing to call his paw.
Yeah. This charm was started in the hopes of bringing prosperity to you. Within 3 days, make 5 copies of this letter, leaving off the top name and address. And what in the world is that boy talking about here?
I dog his grandpap. I believe he sent you one of them chain letters, sure to were.
Yes, that's what it is. It sure as were. Goes on here to say, in omitting the top name and address, be sure to send that person 10 cents wrapped in paper as a charity donation.
Well, I swan to goodness. Them things is just taking the country, ain't they? And that ain't very newsy.
Well, I don't know now. Feller can tell her right smart by that. I know he ain't sick or he couldn't have writ the letter, and he must be getting along all right or he wouldn't have had a dime to send off.
Yeah, well, I hadn't looked at it that way, but I reckon there's reasoning all right, Grandpa.
Yeah, I reckon there's lots of folks that's got letters from their folks and friends that they hadn't heard from in
there's
years.
Lum coming up out there in front now.
Yeah, I thought he'd about due back.
Yeah, well, them creeks might have been up. These rains we've been having is full of creeks, something wonderful here.
Well, Lum, you got back, I see.
Did you have any trouble, Lum?
Trouble? Granny's, I ain't had nothing else but trouble.
Well?
We're into it now, sure enough, Abner.
What's the matter?
Well, I went in there this morning to ship them 36 hogs the man said was in there, and he called yesterday, and by the time I got there, there's 80-some odd.
For the land?
And still coming. I had the feller figure up how much it'd cost us to send them there back to where they come from, and it'll run to nearly $600.
$600?
Yeah, we can't send them back. By tomorrow, there'll be twice as many as there are today, and I know we can't keep that up.
Oh, no.
And now the corn has started coming in there now.
Well, just sit down now, Lum, and quit worrying about it now. I've got some good news for you.
Good news?
Yes.
Well, let's have it. Let's hear it.
Well, Dick Huddleston is over here, and he said that it wouldn't do no good to ship them hogs back nowhere.
No, Lum, he says it ain't again the law to get the hogs. The only thing they can get you fellers for is starting them chain letters. He don't think nothing will be did about that. Dick said that?
That's just what he said a while ago.
Oh, my goodness, and we turned all them hogs loose this morning.
No, I never turned them loose, Lum. That's some more good news. We've still got them. I just happened to think this morning that again the law to turn stock loose that way, so I never done it.
Well, good for you, Abner. And Dick says he don't think we're getting no trouble over that.
No, he said he don't think we'll. Said to keep every hog and every bushel of corn we get.
Grannies, I know that was a good idea, that chain letter business, the minute I thought it up. Let me get to that telephone.
Hey, what are you fixing to do?
I'm going to call up everybody we talked to into taking them hogs back and make them bring them back over here to us. They ought to had more sense than to take them back in the first place.
Well, it looks like the old fellows have finally solved the problem of farm relief, at least for themselves. Did you know that we have a limited quantity of 8x10 autographed pictures of Lum and Abner available? Grand pictures, too, showing your quaint old friends both in character and as they really are. If you get half as much enjoyment out of seeing the old fellows in this picture as I did, you're certainly going to want one. The picture shows them just as if they'd stepped right out of Pine Ridge. Quaint old Lum with his whimsical smile and his prized mustache, and lovable old Abner peering out from under that battered old hat of his. Just wait till you see them. You're going to get even more enjoyment out of their broadcasts, too, when you see the old fellows as they actually are. If you want one of these pictures, and who doesn't, just write your name and address on the back of a Horlicks malted milk wrapper and send it to Lum and Abner, care of the station to which you are now listening, and you'll get one right away. Just remember to send in tonight. We have only a limited quantity of these pictures available. This is Carlton Brickert, speaking for Lum and Abner and Horlicks, who now bid you all good night and good health.
Of course, you can't get Horlicks malted milk anymore, and don't send it to the station if you can find one, because they won't be able to help you. May 14th, 1935, Lum and Abner here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks to Ted at RadioMemories.com for supplying us these great Lum and Abner shows restored to the best quality possible. RadioMemories.com. Our webpage is ClassicRadio.stream. Stream our shows. Learn how to build a classic radio collection of your own. You can contact me, find our social media links there, and if you'd like to help us, you can buy me a coffee. That Buy Me a Coffee money helps us acquire additional classic radio collections and helps us maintain our distribution channels. That's at classicradio.stream, classicradio.stream. Thanks for tuning in. Tell all your friends the greatest radio shows of all time are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.